With Snoke being dead, his guards attack Kylo and Rey. And to be honest, this next bit is not specific to writing, but I would like to personally discuss it. There is a criticism that I first heard with Plinkett's review of Star Wars The Phantom Menace, that battles in the prequel trilogy are awful because they are too fast, too surgical, and come across like a dance with no emotion. Comparing that to the OT, where the battles are rough and strongly emotional between well-developed and conflicting characters. The fight itself is about the conflict rather than the choreography. I enjoyed this perspective and I definitely see its merits. But there is another idea in that same video that the criticism of the OT battles being slow and awkward is invalid because there's such great characters, and it doesn't matter. I personally stand in the middle. I think, and I would argue, the two greatest battles in all of the Star Wars saga is Luke vs. Vader in Episode 6, and the battle with Darth Maul in Episode 1. This is for reasons of investment and choreography. Do I think the fight in The Phantom Menace acts like a dance? Well, for the most part, no. It felt as though it ran like a fight between three trained sword users at the same time, which I suppose I have a soft spot for. Ultimately, I've always looked at Jedi battles as a little bit different to those with people and swords in real life. Jedi and Sith tend to get to use the Force, and they also have amazing jump abilities, and they get to throw things around. They have heightened senses. So the way they run tends to sort of give me the impression that these are Jedi fights. And to be honest, I was invested in the characters fighting. Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor were the good guys, and they only wanted to help, so seeing them in peril was getting to me a little bit. And Maul was such an intimidating bad guy that I was invested in the fight regardless of the good guys. It could have been built far better, but I wanted to see who was going to win and how. The choreography on top of that was pure gold. As for Episode 6, I was heavily invested in the entirety of the fight. Luke and Vader was everything I felt the three films built towards, and their choreography is mostly great. There are still a couple of stick-clacking moments that seem a bit off, but when you get a wide shot of Luke maniacally taking his father down, it was incredible. When The Force Awakens arrived, it was presumed that they took the best of both worlds, fantastic choreography and investment all in one. But Rey was never going to lose her fights, due to her writing, which meant investment was kind of out the window for me. Anyway, more to the point, for the people complaining about the surgical dancing of the prequels, look closely at the fight scene with Rey and Kylo versus the guards. The next time you watch the film, look closely. There are several moments where the enemy guards are waiting for their cue, or stop for a while before attacking again because they're slightly out of place. The whole thing is quite a spectacle, there's no doubt, and the wide shot with Rey and Kylo back to back is wonderful and aesthetically satisfying, but this fight has a handful of awkward moments. On Rey's side, there is this moment where all of the opponents, for some reason, attack her top down at the same time, and then she blocks them all with one move, only to kick, and then all three of them get pushed back? How? Why? What in the world made these guys think to attack her all at the same time in the exact same spot? Not to mention that there's a distinct lack of force in this fight. Where are the force moves? Do you remember when Darth Maul opened the door? Or when he force pushed Obi-Wan off the ledge? Remember how Vader would rip things off the wall and throw them at Luke? I guess what I'm saying is, from a layman's perspective, there needed to be a few tweaks in the quality of the fight. But let's go back to the writing. We have Rey, a person who lives on a desert and learned to fight people with a staff, who had an hour or so slashing with a lightsaber, and even when pitted against a rock, she made mistakes. She's fighting a team of saber-wielding knights at the same time, who are hired to protect Supreme Leader Snoke, and she's winning. She even performs better than Kylo Ren at his prime, despite him having formal training from Luke Skywalker and Supreme Leader Snoke. People will legitimately compare this to Luke slashing Vader in Episode 5, because Luke totally managed to stand up against the Dark Lord, so it stands to reason that Rey should be able to do this too. But Luke received training. Luke was being toyed with by Vader. Though I think I need to remind some people of the most important detail. Luke lost. He lost the fight. This fight is hard to watch because Rey's never gonna fail. She will save other characters, and she'll come out superior. So overall, the criticisms applied to the fights in both the OT and the prequel trilogy are right in here. It is the worst of both worlds. In this fight, the newest and most professionally paid fight in the series, there is strange choreography akin to a poor direction or a dance in which you are forced to assume that all of this is pre-planned. On top of that, there is a distinct lack of investment for the characters as they are essentially immune to death. Nobody's gonna see Kylo or Rey die to random guards. Come to think of it, why aren't these random guards now subservient to Kylo? What is the point in attacking the new leader exactly? This is par for the course with Sith, right? Even if they aren't Sith. Kylo will be paying your wages now, guys. There's no need to kill him. Look, the fact is that it's not the worst fight in the series by any stretch of the imagination. The visuals are neat, it's flashy, it's cool. I really rate it as a bit of eye candy, I suppose, but on closer inspection, it's not as good as everyone seems to believe it is. Not to mention that, like I said, it lacks force powers entirely, which really added spice to these sorts of things. I guess the writers forgot it was a thing. Oh no, Kylo is being strangled. If only he had the force to do something about this. If only he had the ability to— Oh, never mind, Rey saved him.